My wife said, "You'll never prove I cheated. I will take the house, kids and everything." I stayed calm. Then I sent her an envelope. Now her lawyer is frantically calling mine. Initial post: I'm 44 male. My wife, Megan, 42, stood in our kitchen 2 weeks ago, the one I'd retiled, and laid it all out. No tears, no shame, just cold declaration. "I'm not happy, Jeremy. Haven't been for years." Fair enough, though a heads up before nuking our 15-year marriage would have been nice. Then the kicker. And yes, there's someone else. Been going on for a while. I just nodded. Inside, a black hole was trying to swallow my sternum. Outside, poker face. Years of managing corporate crises taught me that. She smirked. That's what got me. The pure arrogance. "You'll never prove it. Keith is very careful. And even if you did, good luck. I'm taking the house. The kids will stay with me, obviously, and you'll be paying. All of it. You'll have nothing." She puffed her chest out like she'd rehearsed it, daring me. "You think I haven't spoken to a lawyer? I know my rights," she added, voice dripping contempt. "You're too soft, Jeremy. Always have been." I just looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd loved, mother of Alice, 12, and Harold, 8. And I felt remarkably little. Disappointment and a sudden, icy clarity. "Okay, Megan," I said. Just that. "Okay." Her smirk faltered. She expected yelling, tears, begging. She got none. The past 2 weeks, an adjustment. She's still in the house, guest room, by her choice, swanning about like she's already won, telling the kids Mommy and Daddy are just figuring things out, but you'll be with me mostly. Little digs. She served me divorce papers yesterday. Her lawyer, Miss Judith, a real shark, sent a ludicrous list of demands. Full custody, the house, the car I paid for, suffocating alimony. Almost comical. Megan thinks she holds all the cards, thinks I'm the same guy she's walked over for years. She's wrong. This morning, I sent an envelope via courier, addressed to Megan, marked personal and confidential to be opened by addressee only, delivered about an hour ago. My phone hasn't rung, but I bet her lawyers will be, soon. My kids are my world. She mistook my patience for weakness, my love for them for an exploitable flaw. We'll see who's left with nothing. Update 1. Well, it's been a week, and what a week. The envelope. It landed. For 6 hours after delivery, nothing. Crickets. Megan was out when it arrived, came home, saw it on the kitchen island, watched her pick it up from the living room. Same smug look. She probably thought it was me, caving. How wrong she was. She took it to the guest room. An hour later, a weird noise. Not a scream, a choked gasp. Then silence. Deep, unsettling silence. Later that evening, she came out. Pale, eyes wide, no smugness, no words to me. Beeline for the wine, then retreated to her room. Good. Next morning, my lawyer, Mr. Carl, salt of the earth, bulldog when needed, got the first call. Not from Megan, from Miss Judith. Mr. Carl said Judith sounded flustered, a stark contrast to her earlier aggressive tone. Miss Judith suggested there might have been a misunderstanding about initial requests, Mr. Carl recounted, a slight smile in his voice. She proposed a meeting for a more collaborative approach, I'll bet. Megan, meanwhile, a wreck. Not remorseful, cornered animal, entitlement still there, laced with panic. She tried to talk to me 2 days ago, cornered me in the kitchen. "Jeremy, what was in that envelope?" she whispered, eyes darting. "You tell me, Megan, you opened it. This is insane. You can't use that. It's an invasion of my privacy." Voice rising, that familiar accusatory tone. "Was it an invasion of my privacy, Megan, when you were with Keith in our marital bed? Or when you used money meant for this family, actual marital funds, on that yoga retreat that was actually a week in a boutique hotel with him?" "Oh, the PI I hired was thorough, worth every penny." Her face went white. "You spied on me?" "I gathered facts, Megan. Facts you were so confident I'd never find." "You'll still lose," she hissed. "Miss Judith says this changes nothing about custody or the house." Bless her heart. Dirty tricks started as expected. Told Alice I was trying to kick Mommy out and leave her with no money. Alice came to me crying. Tough conversation. Sat her and Harold down, age appropriately, and explained grown-up problems are complicated. Daddy would never let them be uncared for. Loved them more than anything. Megan tried interrupting, accusing me of poisoning them. The audacity. She called my sister, bawling, saying I'd become a monster. Obsessed with destroying her. My sister knows Megan's drama, called me. Gave her the short, unvarnished version. Team Jeremy. Yesterday, Megan disabled the Wi-Fi, changed the password, hid the router's power cord. If I was difficult, she would be too. Petty, childish. Used my phone hotspot, ordered a new cord. It arrived today. My silence is driving her crazier than any yelling match. Miss Judith requested an urgent settlement conference. Mr. Carl agreed, reiterated our position, 50-50 custody, house sold, proceeds split after accounting for marital assets she redirected, and no spousal support given her actions and earning capacity. Good job, just like spending my money. Mr. Carl said. Judith scoffed at no spousal support. Old habits. Contents of the envelope, detailed PI report. Dates, times, locations. Intimate dinner receipts, hotel bookings. Discreet photos of her and Keith, a sleazy finance bro, looking far too comfortable. All paid from her personal credit card, but the PI confirmed the account was funded by her salary earned during our marriage, making the money used marital property she was squandering. Copies of emails to Keith from her work account. Pro tip: don't use company IT for affairs. In them, she detailed how she'd take Jeremy to the cleaners, how he was too stupid, and how she'd make sure kids understood he was the reason. Pièce de résistance. Short audio clip. A friend of mine, Andrea, who'd noticed Megan's increasingly dismissive attitude towards me for months, had lunch with her about a month ago. Megan, after 2 Chardonnays, got loose-lipped. Andrea, already concerned and sensing Megan was about to reveal something significant, discreetly hit record on her phone when Megan started talking about her exit strategy, how she'll cry on cue for the judge, paint Jeremy as emotionally distant, and how Keith thought her shark behavior was hot. Yeah, that envelope. Her lawyer's calls to mine are less frantic, more resigned. But Megan, cycling through denial, rage, pathetic manipulation. Not over, not by a long shot, but the smugness is gone. That, for now, is something. Update 2. It's been a few weeks. Things escalated, then de-escalated, almost whiplash-inducing. The settlement conference. Judith and Megan on one side, me and Mr. Carl on the other. Megan started with waterworks, sobs about her life being ruined, me being vindictive. Miss Judith, comforting hand on her arm, looked at me like I was dirt. Mr. Carl coolly slid a paper across the table. Bullet point summary of the envelope's evidence. Polite note. Prepared to introduce this into discovery and, if necessary, at trial. A judge, particularly a child custody evaluator, would find it highly relevant. Theatrics stopped, dead. Megan stared, face crumbling. Judith read, expression tightening. This is an outrageous violation of privacy. Judith blustered, voice lacking steel. We'll file motions to suppress. Inadmissible. Mr. Carl smiled thinly. Feel free. The PI's evidence was lawfully obtained. As for the emails, they were on a company server. When we subpoenaed her employer for financial records, their legal review, in complying with the subpoena related to potential dissipation of assets, uncovered her extensive misuse of company resources for the affair and these plans. They provided them as part of their formal response to the subpoena, citing company policy on such misuse. And the recording, your client was in a public place, boasting to a third party. No reasonable expectation of privacy. We're confident it all stands. Pin drop. Megan looked sick. Judith argued the money Megan spent on Keith was gifts between friends, personal expenses. Mr. Carl, several thousands on undeclared gifts and trips with her lover while planning to claim destitution for spousal support. Dissipation of marital assets is the term a judge would use. The entitlement, like a relentless hydra. Megan, after Judith said their demands were radioactive, tried a new angle with me later. Cornered me when kids were out. Jeremy, please. Voice trembling, good acting. Think of Alice and Harold. If this gets ugly, they'll be devastated. Can't we agree to my terms for their sake? You don't want them to suffer? Using my kids, human shields for her greed. Any lingering pity vanished. Only person making this ugly is you, Megan, I said quietly. My terms are fair. Protect the kids. Protect what's rightfully theirs and mine. Your terms were to destroy me. Negotiation based on your fantasies is over. She stamped her foot. You're cruel. You always were. I'll tell everyone what you're doing. I'll tell the kids you're a vindictive bully. Go ahead, I said, walking away. They're smart. They see more than you think. Next dirty trick. Trying to get me arrested. Called cops one evening, claiming I'd threatened her. She feared for her safety. 2 officers came. I calmly explained, showed the divorce filing, mentioned my lawyer. Megan's Oscar-worthy performance failed. The cops saw through it, warned her about false reports, and left. She hid in the guest room for a day. Then the smear campaign, texts to mutual friends, vague Facebook posts about surviving narcissistic abuse, breathtaking irony. Real friends saw through it. Some busybodies lapped it up. Stung, not gonna lie. Character assassinated by the person I built a life with. But then I'd look at Mr. Carl's file and the sting faded. Biggest consequence for her? Miss Judith pushing Megan hard to settle, on terms very close to my original proposal. The audio of her planning perjury and badmouthing me for custody was the nail in Judith's aggressive coffin. Lying to court is a big no-no. If that recording came out, Megan could face penalties. Judith's reputation? Mud. Latest offer from them. Megan agrees, house sold. 50-50 split of actual marital assets, minus the 15 calories she blew on Keith. Meticulously calculated. Biting tooth and nail on spousal support, but Judith wavering, suggesting tiny rehabilitative alimony. We're holding firm. 0. She's employable, created this mess. Custody still main sticking point, terrified of not getting primary. Her documented intent to alienate and lie damaged her position. Mr. Carl confident. Fair 50-50 joint legal physical, maybe a parenting coordinator. She's no longer smug, bitter, resentful, still believes she's the victim, that I tricked her by not being a fool. Her lawyer's calls aren't frantic now, just trying to salvage things from her client's dumpster fire. Draining, won't lie, some days immense weight, but then Harold makes a goofy joke or Alice asks for homework help and I remember why, not for revenge, for truth. Fairness. For my kids to see actions have consequences, their father won't be bullied. Final update, it's over. Divorce finalized last week. The last few months were a slog. Mediation, a joke. Megan, stony silence or tearful, aggressive accusations. Miss Judith looked like she was counting the minutes. In the end, we didn't even need a full trial on most issues. The strength of the evidence in the envelope, particularly the audio and emails, dramatically accelerated the process, forcing Judith's hand far sooner than anyone anticipated. Final breakdown. The house sold. After mortgage, deducting Megan's $15 Keith fund, Mr. Carl got that. Equity split 50-50. I used my share for a down payment on a townhouse. Megan, after fees and finding an apartment, not the palace she envisioned, isn't living the high life she planned with Keith. Oh, Keith? Bailed when her financial future looked less rosy. Shocker. Custody. Toughest fight. She screamed when 50-50 joint legal physical custody was cemented. No primary. Evidence of planned alienation and intent to lie was too strong. Clear schedule. Court-ordered app for communications. Judge gave her a stern warning about parental conduct. Kids adjusting. Not easy, but resilient. See both of us regularly. Harold asked why mommy was so angry. Told him grown-ups sometimes have a hard time, but both of us love him and Alice. Spousal support. 0. Her earning capacity is decent. Her conduct significant. Miss Judith barely fought this by the end. Other assets, cars, savings, what was left, retirement accounts, standard splits, once the 15K was accounted for. Megan is not happy. Understatement of the century. Furious. Bitter. Cannot comprehend her brilliant plan. Backfired. Still the victim in her mind. She signed the papers with pure venom for me. No remorse, apology, or self-reflection. Entitled people rarely have epiphanies. Saw her at Alice's school play last week. Ignored me, then loudly told another parent how she was finally free from a controlling marriage. Loud enough for me to hear. I just smiled faintly, focused on Alice, brilliant as a talking tree. The satisfaction isn't from her misery, though a grim part of me acknowledges the justice. Real satisfaction is peace, knowing I stood up for myself and my kids. Her arrogance and deceit didn't win. Vulnerability? Sure. Loneliness, worry for the kids, exhaustion. Days I wanted to give her everything to make it stop, but Mr. Carl and my sister kept me grounded. You don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, my sister said. Wise. I'm not celebrating. Divorce is awful. No matter the circumstances, death of a dream. But not dwelling on what was lost. Focusing on what I have, kids, integrity, my future. House is quieter, calm. Harold and I build Lego castles. Alice and I bake. Small things, but everything. She thought I was soft, thought I'd crumble, thought she could take me for everything. Wrong. The envelope was about truth, and the truth, as they say, sets you free. For Megan, it meant facing the deserved consequences of her actions. Honestly, better than revenge. Thanks for letting me vent, Reddit. Been a journey. Peace out.